So software effort estimation under software project management. So in that we are going to see introduction to some terminologies regarding software effort estimation. Where are estimates done? At which scenarios estimates are to be carried out? Is it done only one time or many times? Many times means where? And what are the problems with over and under estimates? And the basis for software estimation, software effort estimation techniques, and two categories, bottom up and top down estimation approaches, and specifically few effort estimation models that are successful in the industry. So why we have to do estimation? So we can say a project is successful means it is delivered on time, within budget, and also with the required quality. So if these three are achieved, we could say it is a successful project. So delivered on time, within budget means we need some target. So how do we measure that? Whether it is delivered on time, within budget, and has required quality. So for each of these three perspectives, we need a target. So we have to fix up. Without estimation, how do we fix up the target? So we have to estimate it. And moreover, the targets must be reasonable and realistic estimation. So that if the target is unrealistic means like we have to complete the project. Now only it has been told within today evening we have to complete that project. It is unrealistic target. So to study the project objectives, we need at least one day. So it should be a realistic one. Some challenges are also there, like whether we are doing a software project or other type of project. So based on that, we could face some challenges. Already we have seen software projects are having difficulty than the other projects because of the invisibility. So that also comes into place here. Because of this invisibility, how do we measure and estimate it? So that is the main challenge here, complexity and invisibility than the other projects. And subjective nature of estimating. So that also a challenge here. Will be underestimating the small tasks and overestimating the large tasks. So we don't know this is going to be a very large task. So we think all the tasks as equal, and something may be small task, something may be large. Sometimes this will go wrong. Underestimation, overestimation, many things may happen. And we may have some political implications for projects like this Aadhaar card implementation for whole India or similar projects. We will be forced, the developers, the team will be forced to produce unrealistic estimates. Then only we'll get the project. Like Staff Selection Commission is conducting online exams for recruitment for various posts all over India, central government posts. For that, they need a software system, and they are asking many people, you can send some quotations based on the estimation and budget you are producing. We'll choose one company to develop that. So some political party will involve in this, and they may force some organization to give unrealistic estimates so that organization will get the order. So likewise, so some implications may be there. And changing technology. So if it is a lengthy project, like it may span 1 year, 2 years time, a big project like Aadhaar card project, we will be starting with initial plan with one technology. After 1 year, a very new technology which may be easier than the previous what we have planned, that might have come. So we need to change it. So the chosen technology may be obsolete, okay, outdated. So we have to quickly change all the plans and everything. The faculty working on it may not be aware of the new technology, and we have to train them, or we have to recruit new persons likewise. So these are all challenges, and it will be difficult to use the past experience in case of changing technology, and lack of homogeneity of project experience. Different people will have different experience, and that too, if this project is not exactly similar to the past project, and if I use the past knowledge, like this may be the schedule, rough estimate. For that, if I use the past knowledge, this may not work for the new project. So that will also affect here. And how do we measure the usefulness of productivity of the project? So all these related to estimates. So now we are seeing some intro, and we are revising, or we are learning the basic terminologies related to estimation. The project manager uses the productivity data of past projects to decide the effort distribution for the new project. Like previous batch, student batch, they have used one IoT project, and they are giving some estimation, like we took this much time for this module, this much time for this module, and yours is also IoT based project, then you can somehow match your deadlines, how much time required for completing first module, second module, likewise. So in those way, we can take the past projects to decide the effort distribution for the upcoming project. So the programmer productivity is generally calculated as SLOC per day. SLOC is source lines of code. Source lines of code. How many lines a programmer can write in one day? So normally, blindly lines means we can easily write printf statements and all. But exactly the SLOC deals about the logic, the program logic, okay, original logic of the code. So how many source lines of code he can write in one day? So that is about the programmer's productivity. So the organizational productivity is calculated based on all the programmers involved in that project inside the organization. So total productivity, organizational productivity, they can calculate. But still it is difficult to predict, because there may be some uncertainties. In one day I may be brisk and I'll be developing these many SLOCs, and another day I may be sick and I'm not ready to produce that much effectively. Effective code I cannot produce on the second day, likewise. So there may be so many uncertainties, and some days system may not work, then connectivity may be slow, so many things, those are all coming under uncertainties. So because of that, we may not achieve the expected productivity. So here is one sample data, past project data for design phase, coding phase, testing phase, and the total value. And how many projects they have listed here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For the 9 projects, they have some past data. For design, how many work months? WM means work months. Work months. 3.9 work months means 3.9 into 30 days. Those many days. So this was the collected data based on the past history in their organization. So now they can keep this type of historical data, and based on this, they can calculate the effort for the upcoming projects. So in this case, you could see 3.9 plus 5.3 plus 7.4 becomes 6.17. So that is the total work month required for project A. Project A is having 6050 SLOC, source lines of code, around 6000 lines in that effective lines, excluding comment lines, printf, likewise. Okay, effective lines 6050 lines SLOC. So with this, how do we calculate the productivity? So they are calculating SLOC is 6050, total work month is 16.7 to complete the project. So the number of days required would be 16.7 into 30, because in each month approximately 30 days. So 6.7 into 30 becomes 501. 501 days. 501 days required to complete this SLOC project A. So the productivity will be 6050 by 501. So on each day we can produce 12.7 SLOC per day. So this is the productivity rate for this project A. And for project B, they can calculate based on the SLOC and the total value. So for project E, it is given. For each project that was listed here, we can calculate here. For project E, 17.3 and SLOC is 3,315. So 3,315 divided by the 17.3 into 30, those many number of days, that will give us the productivity per day productivity. Per month productivity also we can calculate, but per day productivity we can have as a base reference. So for project E, it is 6.7 source lines of code per day. And for project G, the productivity is 127 SLOC per day. So this is very big when compared to these two projects. Very big value, 127 source lines of code per day. Maybe they might have involved more people on this project to complete this, because single person cannot do in one day effective logic, 127 effective logic code in one day. So the industry average is 10 SLOC per day. This is a common nomenclature used in industry. And in average, it should be around 10 SLOC per day. We may sometimes, based on this value, if we consider this seems like too low, but based on this, if we think, yes, it is okay, good. Even it is hard to achieve. Based on this, we think, yes, it is okay, moderately easy to achieve. The average 10 is easy when we think this project. When we think this project, it is little hectic. And when we think this project, this is very low target. So somehow the project manager has to calculate the productivity, and that should be disseminated to the project team, including the project lead. So accordingly, they have to plan and work. Where are estimates done? So whenever we have to do. So initially, the organization will have some strategic plan, 5-year plan. In 5 years, our organization should reach this target likewise. So those are all strategic planning. And based on that, they wanted to have the portfolio. Like in 5 years, we should now, currently we are having 100 projects, moderately big company. Currently running projects count is 100. In 5 years, they want to double it, 200 projects running. And they wanted to complete at least 300, 400 projects, already completed projects. Currently running 200 projects. Likewise, they wanted to have a mission on. So based on that, they have to fix up the count. Based on that, they have to fix up the count for how many projects they have to keep in the portfolio likewise. And based on that, they have to plan the resources, staff recruitment, system purchase, all these things. Like how we are doing in our college. They are planning, we also have strategic planning for our college, and this much quality publications per year, and after 5 years in what level we should be, how many courses, new courses, degree courses we can introduce in 5 years. Likewise, there is a strategic plan, and they are in the plan of introducing new computer science courses. BE CSE we have, be something else, artificial intelligence likewise, based on the newly developed technology. And based on that, they can plan the resources, staff recruitment, extra classrooms, construction, laboratory establishment, all these things they can plan. And during feasibility study, so during that time, whether to accept this project or not, they have to do one rough estimate, and based on that only they can confirm its benefits, profits. They can claim with the management, and during that time one more estimate is done. And then system specification, when we have to define the system specifications, we have to do estimation of different design proposals. That time one more estimation has to be done. And when we have to evaluate the proposals, some quotations are coming, and we have to do some rough estimate which quotation we can accept. Okay, so that some rough estimate we have to make. Based on that, we'll be choosing the realistic quotation. One organization will choose. So during that time, one more estimate will happen. And during the project overall planning, another estimate will be done. So in different perspectives, in each of these stages, we'll be doing estimations in different perspectives. Okay. So estimates are calculated at different places, different stages. So in the stepwise overall planning activities, what we have seen already, so we could see we will be estimating the effort for each activity here. So in this place, effort estimation is done, and if required, it will be revised based on the risks, based on the available resources, and based on some lower level planning after the execution has started. Okay, so all these factors will influence in the effort estimation, and if we want, we have to revise the estimates. So now, what are all the problems with overestimates? Generally, sometimes we cannot have realistic estimates without our knowledge. Because of our unknowingness, it may go as overestimate or underestimate. So one researcher has proved that Parkinson's law has come based on his proof. Work expands to fill the time available. So you all can agree here. So if there is lot of time, we'll work lethargically to complete that full time. So that is the law proposed by Parkinson. If the target is very easy, the people involved will work less hard, lethargically. Okay, so that is the concept here. And Brooks' law states that putting more people on a late job makes it later only. So, like if you are involving more people, the target is very far. Thinking that if we involve more people, they may complete it sooner, but the target is not conveyed to them. They are thinking the target is too far, and what they will do, though we have involved more people on it, still they will make it later. Or sometimes putting more people than enough will create some confusions. Like even for your project, we are having a nominal size as 2 to 3 for UG projects. Even we can increase 4, thinking that they may complete it worthily, with good quality, and even with before the expected time. But actually, it will delineate. All the 4 may think that that person will do, that person will do, that person will do. Totally, nobody will take responsibility. It will delineate the overall objective. So, if people are more, then it increases the potential overhead of managing them. Lot of disputes may come in between them when size increases. So that itself I mean, resolving the disputes, that itself takes time instead of giving a productive project. And problems with underestimates. When we do underestimate, that will not affect much as like overestimate, but there is an downside. But it will not affect much similar to the overestimate. But overestimates are very, very dangerous. So here in underestimation, the dangerous part is quality. Quality is getting affected. So the work produced may be with substandard only, not up to the required standard, only with low standard. And we have to fix some reasonable targets based on some motivations. Like if the target is nearing means we can encourage people so that they will be motivated and they'll be accelerating their speed to work on that and to complete in target. So if unrealistic targets are there, normally when we do some, even though we do some motivation, the overall mindset will not stick to that work. Okay, so they will be frustrated. So reasonable targets are given means they'll be motivated and they think that yes, we can do. And unrealistic targets are given, even though you are giving more and more motivational or whatever positive thing you give, they'll get, this is the time within today evening means, like I am asking you to submit something within today evening, that requires at least one day for you to refer and put, and I am giving you only 2 hours time means you all will not do that. Simply you go, automatically we have to extend the deadline. So that is happening in reality. An estimate is not really a prediction but a management goal. But actually we are doing prediction, but it is merely not simple prediction, it is a goal. So with that they have to achieve all those things. Accordingly, they have to manage other resources and other project flow. And the basis for software estimation is we need some historical data. Based on that only we can do, and we have to take most care on it to collect similar historical data, similar project data. And there is a database organization, ISBSG, that contains data from around 4,800 projects. So industry usually refers these database to calculate the effort for the upcoming project in their organization. And what parameters normally do we estimate? We'll be estimating the effort and duration. Effort means in work months or person months. How many person required for how many days? That is work months or work days or person months. Okay, that estimate. For example, 12 person month means 12 person for 1 month, or 3 person for 4 months, or 4 person 3 months. So in that way. So we could see 12 person month means 12 person into 1 month, or 1 person into 12 months. 1 person working for 12 months to complete the same, or 3 persons working for 4 months, or 4 persons working for 3 months. So among this we can choose. For this project, it is required 12 person months means either this or this or this or this or this we can choose. So we have 12 persons trained in that area means we can choose this. Only 1 people is there, then it should be completed only in 12 months. We have to wait up to 12 months. Or I am having 3 trained person to work on this project means we may fix the target as 4 months. Yes, we have 4 people, 5 people. Accordingly, we can fix the target. So this is about effort. And next, duration. So once duration in months is estimated, then accordingly the effort can be calculated, or effort is estimated, then accordingly we can calculate the duration. So interrelated. So this is the first thing we have to estimate. So how do we estimate the effort? For that I need size. Measure of the work, size of the project. Based on that only I can tell 12% months is required. So how do we measure the size of the project? Normally they will say I need a website for our company. Website means what? We have to ask what are the features you want in that website. So in that case, size may not be for website development, mainly user interface related thing. We cannot focus on size. So we have to focus function points, FP. Okay. So size is in maybe lines of code or function points. How many modules are there likewise. So that we can choose. But this is varying based on the difficulty of the software, experience of the developer. All are experienced developers means based on their own knowledge, they will quickly develop some modules. New persons, now only they are recruited and they are new to the project means slowly they will develop it. And whether we are going to use tools, variety of software engineering tools for that, we can simplify our task, like testing and all automatically parallelly done while you write the code. Like in Eclipse IDE, you are typing the code means automatically it will tell some spelling mistakes and all. But when you are typing it in the normal notepad editor, after compilation only, you will notice that there are some spelling mistakes or syntax mistakes and all. But in IDE, it automatically tells some red line, red underline and all, it will parallelly tell. So we can quickly identify that. Okay. Now, to measure the size of the software project, we have two options. Source lines of code, that is one way. How many lines? Logic writing lines, not the display statements, comment lines, all those things. Okay, original logic. So how many source lines of code, worthy source lines of code required for that particular project, or function points, module wise. So as I told, website development and all, we cannot say lines of code because so many tags will come, mostly we cannot count. Okay, we will be simply reproducing, copy paste. Similar tables we have to create again and again means copy paste. So we cannot say lines of code there, function points, this module. So that we'll be calling it as function module, input receiving module, output displaying module, database connectivity module, likewise. So for SLOC, we could say it is a simple measure to calculate and understand, but it has some drawbacks. No precise definition on which are all the lines we can include, which cannot be included, comment lines, display lines. What about that? If we are writing an effective display, graphics display, in that case, display line itself is worthy. So there are a lot more points to be finalized. We could not say precisely this is the exact definition. One definition is worthy for one project but not worthy for another project. So in that side it has some downside and difficult to estimate at start of the project. How many lines will come for this project? It is difficult for most of the projects. Even though if I do some rough estimate, will it be accurate? And it is only a code measure. Like for one logic, one for loop, it may take 2 days to finally fix up the correct for loop. And some other code, in one day, I may even write 20-30 lines, logic also. So only the code measure is enough, or other lifecycle activities like for a particular task, collecting requirement itself took very big time. That itself a difficult task. So that also to be considered. Then it will be programmer dependent. Like one programmer who is an efficient programmer may complete the logic within half an hour. Inefficient programmer may take 1 day to complete that particular task. So likewise, it depends all these things, and it does not consider code complexity. Same complexity will not be there for all the projects. It differs for project to project. So if we define one guideline based on SLOC, that is not suitable for all the projects. So in that perspective, SLOC, though it is very simple to use, it has so many downsides. And nowadays, function points may be the best option to measure the size of the software project. And it is complex compared to SLOC, that is the downside. But when we do it based on this, it is accurate, almost accurate than the SLOC. So that part is an advantage here. So two measures, at least SLOC or FP, we have to calculate. Based on this only, effort can be estimated. Now, so these are all the variety of different categories of estimation techniques. Algorithmic models. So some algorithmic calculations, equations will be there. We have to apply our work values into that, and we will be getting the result. And expert judgment. This is one way of getting some estimation value. That is advice of knowledgeable staff. Okay, based on the past history, they can tell this may be the effort for this project. And analogy based. So we have to choose similar projects and we can compare the relativeness of these two projects, and accordingly, like that project is having 7 inputs similar to the current project, but this current project is having only 5 inputs, means accordingly we can reduce 1 or 2 days in the overall estimate. So likewise, so we can compare it with similar completed projects, past projects. And Parkinson method, this is based on the effort available. So we have 4% available to work on this project, means accordingly we have to fix up the effort. Okay, based on the only available staff load. And price to win. So who is completing or who is giving low estimate, who is going to complete this quickly, they will win the chance to carry out the project. So this is how we are giving contracts and all. Who is giving low estimate, that person will get the chance to carry out the project. And then top down approach and bottom up approach. So in top down, as I told, the overall estimate is, rough estimate is made, and from that they will be broken down for subtasks. And in bottom up, the minute level task estimates are aggregated to get the overall effort. So these are all the different categories of software effort estimation. So we have some examples under these category, like some analogy based method and some algorithmic model based methods, top down methods, bottom up methods, exactly how it can be done. So in bottom up estimating, as I told, work breakdown structure is created, and for each of the sub works, sub tasks, effort is estimated. Finally, it is added up towards the top. So effort is calculated for each activity and adding all those things to get the final. And it is more preferred when we don't have any historical data. No similar project is there, no past data is there, so that I cannot have the overall estimate, rough estimate. Means split everything, and for a simple task, it is easy for us to tell the estimate, like Writing one for loop may require one effective for loop for a particular task. We may fix up based on the experience of the developer. We can fix 1 hour, half a day, likewise. Then finally adding up like this all, we can get the bottom up estimating. So bottom up estimation is useful when there is no historical data available to do the overall estimation. And mainly bottom up estimation techniques are procedural code oriented approaches. So the number and type of software modules in the final system will be roughly estimated, and SLOC for each identified module will be calculated, and then the work content is estimated by considering the complexity and technical difficulty. One module may be easy, another module may be tough. So accordingly, some weightage, that weightage value will be assigned, and accordingly the effort is calculated. So finally, they will calculate the work days required. How many work days required to complete the project in bottom up estimation. In top down approach, usually they will be parametric models, and it is similar analogy to estimate the rough cost to build a house, like 1,500 square feet house means approximately this much cost. From that, they will divide the individual costs. So here effort would be the total system size, as I told, 1,500 square feet house. So in that way, the system size, and for each square feet, normally in the market, 1,600 rupees they are charging means to be multiplied with that. So this productivity varies with expertise. Yes, you are going with an architect means then he will charge per square feet a different rate. Normal engineer means, normal moderate civil engineer means his charge will be different. And you are going to a mason means you are giving the product means again that will very low. That will be very low. So we can use the same formula to calculate the productivity also. Productivity becomes system size divided by, effort divided by system size. And sometimes least squares regression can also be applied, like effort will be equal to some constant value to adjust some other parameters like other efforts. Planning efforts, everything to be included in that effort means size into constant 2. Likewise, it may go. So this can also be applied. So these are all the ways how estimations are generally carried out by the project manager. So now with this sample exercise, we shall wind up today's session. So you could read out this. A software module is estimated with a size of 2 kilo lines of code. 2 kilo lines means 2000 lines. So SLOC here is 2000. So if Kate undertook the development of the code with her expertise, she could work at a rate of 40 days per KLOC. So Kate can develop 1,000 lines of code in 40 days. Okay, so here 2000 to be developed. So Kate will take 80 days. And while Ken, who is less experienced, she needs 55 days per KLOC. So we can compute Kate is taking 80 days to complete. Ken is taking 110 days to complete. Okay, so how do we judge this? Calculate the effort required if it is done by Kate and effort required if it is done by Ken. So these are the effort. 80% days and Ken requires 110% days. Okay, so in this perspective, you can expect questions in that. So how do we calculate the productivity? If person days are there, what is the productivity? Okay. So you can calculate in that perspective. So in the next class, we shall calculate, we shall see different methodologies, and based on that how effort is exactly calculated. Okay.